Okay, so I'm going to talk about two words that are discussed in every auction every day across America. Those words, which are very, very important and have legal definition, are absolute and reserve. One of the number one questions that a buyer will ask, is it going to sell for the highest price? Well, that depends. And there are many, many different situations to think about when a property sells, and if it's going to sell with a seller's reserve, which means that what the word, simply says, a seller's reserve. A seller can place a bottom price, I've heard it called that. A seller can say, this is the price, I will not accept any less than, but the reserve is an amount that the seller holds true to them, and they are not willing to accept anything less, unless it gets into a situation where you negotiate. And I've been able to do this many, many times in reserve auctions where the price in a competitive market brought X number of dollars but was less than the reserve, and the seller, of course, can change their mind at any time, and we sold the property for less than the reserve. So keep that in mind. If you're making an offer on a property, if you're a bidder in an auction and someone says, well, the reserve is way up here, it's high, don't let that bother you too much. I always tell people, put in your best offer. You never know what the seller will accept. People have the right to change their minds, and trust me, after 20 years in this business, I've seen a lot of sellers take a lot less for property than they originally thought because we delivered a market price that was suitable for their needs. So what happens if you see an advertisement with the word auction? What does that mean? According to UCC, Uniform Commercial Code 2-328, the definition of an auction means that it is an auction with reserve unless announced absolute or without reserve. Now, that's a little bit of paraphrasing, but the general meaning is unless the advertisement says it's absolute, it does not mean that it's going to automatically sell. Remember, in a reserve auction, and it does not have to say reserve auction, it just has to state in that situation that there's an auction, and the seller has right of confirmation, which means that generally there is a reserve placed on the property. Always remember this, never forget this. A seller can change their mind. If they have a reserve of $1 million and the highest bid is $750,000, the seller can't accept that. Do you want to be in position to have the highest bid? I suggest that you make your best offer. Continually make your best offer until you're done. And when you're done, you can still make another offer if you would like. My job as the auctioneer is to continue to ask you until all efforts are exhausted. I take that offer to the seller, and in a reserve situation, the seller's going to say yes or no. Now, let's talk about absolute, or the similar terminology is without reserve. Once again, it's talked about in the Uniform Commercial Code. So you say, Myers, I seen an auction advertised absolute. What do I do? What does it mean? So a property that is advertised absolute is going to sell to the highest and best bidder who has agreed to the terms and conditions with a couple of caveats. And you say, whoa, wait a minute, what are you talking about? There is a couple of instances that if a property, and the key word is been advertised. In order to sell it absolute, the property has to be offered. And in an absolute auction, the auctioneer is offering to the group of bidders to sell, and when they accept the auctioneer's offer, the auctioneer is going to continue to ask for money until all efforts has been exhausted. The last person who has got the highest bid, who has agreed to the terms and conditions, is the winner of the auction and will buy that property, unless the auction never starts. That's caveat number one. If the auction never starts, if the auctioneer never asks for the money, well, you do not have the start of the sale, so you cannot finish the sale. The other situation, if an auctioneer asks for an acceptance or asks for that bid and there is no bid in a reasonable period of time, the auctioneer, under the direction of the seller, may withdraw the property from the sale. So there's a couple instances you got to think about. So this is what I suggest. I suggest that you read the terms and conditions in full. I suggest that if you have any doubts whatsoever, ask the auctioneer. Look at the terms and conditions, check the box, bid if you're comfortable, but make sure that you understand the terms and conditions of each auction, and each auction may be multiple items within the same auction. So if I sell 10 items, that could be considered 10 auctions because the terms on each item may be different. Now, different auctioneers have different terms and conditions. So if you buy in the state of Texas, or if you buy in the state of Oklahoma, state of Kansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, each auctioneer or each auction company may have a different set of terms and conditions. Just be familiar. We wish you success. We want you to buy the property. That's the business that we're in. Auctioneers want to sell you the property. Trust me, that's how I earn my living. However, we want you to understand what it means when we say absolute or with reserve. A quick recap. Reserve. The UCC says an auction is deemed to be an auction with reserve unless announced absolute or without reserve. Reserve auction. Absolute auction means it's going to sell to the highest and best bidder, to that individual or company that understands, has agreed to the terms and conditions under the conditions as the auctioneer has offered the property. They have opened it up to the public, whether it's online, whether it's live, and there is an acceptance of the offer. A bid is made, the last bid stands, and the law says that property has to sell. See you at the next auction.